Guns are not the problem. The problem is mental capacity. That's the problem.
The right to bear arms is ingrained in our Constitution for a reason.
The school shooting at Marjorie Stoneman Douglas High School in Parkland, Florida, claimed the lives of 17 students and teachers. It also rejuvenated a national gun control movement led by teenage survivors.
They say that tougher gun laws do not decrease gun violence. We call BS!
We're children. You guys are the adults. You need to take some action.
At a town hall meeting, survivors confronted their elected officials about their connection to America's powerful gun rights lobby group, the NRA.
Senator Rubio, can you tell me right now that you will not accept a single donation from the NRA in the future?
The day after the town hall, we came to CPAC, the annual conference for conservative politicians and activists that has long been sponsored by the NRA. I went to meet people purchasing membership.
Tell me about what you just did there. You just signed up for the NRA, right?
Yeah, I just signed up for the NRA, absolutely. I think it's really sad to see a lot of the coverage that's going around saying that the NRA is supporting shootings and stuff like that, when millions of dollars of their funding goes to gun safety and gun education.
I believe every American, if they want to, they should be able to buy a gun. But the left is saying take the guns, and I don't think that's the right thing to do.
I think you're slightly mischaracterizing the discussion and debate that's going on in this country at the moment, because it is about sensible gun reform.
Well, here the problem we have also is that on the left where they're saying grab the guns, they don't want to listen to anything that's over on the right.
Who's saying grab the guns?
The left is saying that.
Who's the left?
If you've been following the news in the last 2 or 3 days, everything is against the NRA right now.
The elites don't care not one whit about America's school system.
The NRA wouldn't speak with me, but its president Wayne LaPierre took the stage at CPAC and offered a characteristically defensive speech.
Their goal is to eliminate the Second Amendment and our firearms freedoms so they can eradicate all individual freedoms.
In the immediate aftermath of the shooting, fringe media began pushing false conspiracy theories about the massacre.
Look at these actors, look at these polished kids, and then if you even begin to, his dad's FBI, his mom's a big Democrat, he's going and hanging out at CNN.
A number of speakers at CPAC, like NRA member and former Milwaukee Sheriff David Clark, have openly pushed false theories.
Sheriff Clark, have you got a minute to talk to the Guardian? I just wanted to ask you about your tweet that you sent earlier today, engaging in conspiracy theories with Parkland school students.
We need to go, sir.
Students. Do you think it's an appropriate way to respond to a national tragedy? What evidence do you have to suggest that George Soros is funding these students? You don't want to answer those questions?
Get this guy out of here.
Sebastian Gorka, a former White House aide and gun advocate, also refused to talk.
No national crisis. You people create the crisis.
You can't accuse me of creating a national crisis
and then accuse the left of exploiting and creating crisis. Absolutely.
Well, explain what you mean by that.
No, email me again.
Katie Hopkins, the right-wing British media personality, was here to speak about immigration.
Just because you're a child and you've been shot and you're crying, it doesn't make you a very great policymaker. I think it's a heavily scripted political campaign by CNN and others.
So I was there just hours after it happened, and I spent hours and days on the ground speaking to children who articulately and organically spoke about the dire need for reform in this country.
That doesn't make it the truth. That makes that your truth. I call BS on the students who perform for the camera. I call BS on the Oscar-winning tears.
You sound angry.
I'm angry that the left would use children.
I meant really that you sound angry with the kids.
No, not at all. I have no feelings about the kids.
Donald Trump has backed minimal gun ownership reform, including raising the minimum purchase age of high-powered military-style rifles from 18 to 21. But the president has also pushed another controversial policy, arming teachers in schools.
People that are adept with weaponry and with guns, they teach. And a teacher would have shot the hell out of him before he knew what happened.
It's this proposal, along with an emphasis on mental health screening, that seemed to chime with most of his supporters here. But few wanted to talk about the guns themselves.
When you look at CNN, you look at MSNBC, you look at almost every mainstream media in America right now, they're honing in on the AR-15 assault rifle.
That's because a 19-year-old former school student went and massacred 17 people in a
But
school
he
with
could
that
have done
weapon.
the same thing with a Saturday Night Special too. He could have done the same thing with any handgun. It really doesn't matter specifically about the AR-15. You keep talking about guns. Guns are not the problem. The problem is mental capacity. Think about it. If you remove guns because of some few mentally deranged people, then you need to start removing anything, because anything that we have can be used as a weapon. You take this camera and you take that same camera that we're using and you wield that thing and bash somebody on the top of the head with it. Trust me. Are we gonna start banning cameras too?
Gun ownership and US conservatism are intertwined. And while CPAC brands itself as a forum for ideas, it was clear that the Parkland students' demands for sweeping reform were simply too radical for people here.
It is a bit of a harsh reality that when we have the free flow of guns, there is a decent statistical probability that like the mentally ill or like the unstable will get their hands on guns.
And you think that that's an acceptable democratic norm?
Yeah, that's the foundational view like of America. Yeah.
This year, CPAC held a special event to commemorate the 10-year anniversary of the Heller versus DC court decision. Dick Heller was the lead plaintiff in that case, which further enshrined an individual's right to possess a firearm.
So basically what we're doing is they take a picture, students take a picture with that sign right there, and then they put it on their social media with their answer, and they tag one of our media profiles in it, and then they're entered to win a flight to DC and go shooting at the range with Dick Heller, and a VIP that we're going to announce.
When you saw the children talking about their stories, how did it make you feel?
Feeling is irrelevant. I had to go home and look in the mirror and say, were you responsible for this? And it brought tears to my eyes like it would anybody. That's when I had to have some self-talk. No, I have my gun to protect me because I live across the street from bad guys.
So your argument is basically no legislation after events like this happen.
Tell me one piece of legislation that would have stopped Parkland.
Well, the legal age at which a teenager could purchase an AR-15 rifle. So you accept that if it had been 21, it might not have happened?
Did you hear the word maybe, or did you hear the word yes? You heard the word maybe. My role is to educate children that as soon as you lose your Second Amendment rights, you lose your First Amendment rights, we become a country like every other tyrannical country in the world.
Outside CPAC, things are changing. A growing movement is injecting new energy and purpose into the debate about gun reform. And this is really just the beginning, in what could become a defining episode in Donald Trump's presidency.
And there's so many other children around this country who feel the same and who want to come out here and do similar. And I think that soon our voices will have to be heard.